Today on Crazed Performance Repair, let's do a little diagnostic. Now you can hear my voice is a little hoarse right now. I think I have a case of strep. I still have to get work done, so I am still working away. I have a BMW X5 here. It is a 2008 X5. Customer complaint, the original person who had this vehicle could not find somebody to properly repair the vehicle. They thought they had a bad battery. They replaced the battery. Then they realized they had a parasitic draw. So they thought it was the alternator. They could not find anybody to actually service the vehicle and properly diagnose the vehicle. Decided to sell the vehicle. My neighbor purchased the vehicle, not knowing what's wrong with it exactly beyond that. And he noticed all the lights in the instrument cluster are lit up. I mean, the thing is a Christmas tree inside. Everything was on. So I put my scan tool on it. I came up with all kinds of codes. Maybe I'll throw a little bit of stuff up here on the screen. I'll just roll it past as I talk. But it had a huge list of codes. I started doing some research on some of these codes to find out what they were. Most of the codes on my particular software that I have, which is Identifix. I use Identifix. It's a thing you can become subscribed to, and they give you common failures and things. I tried looking it up on there. I hardly hit on any of them. I hardly had any hits that gave me any lead to go towards. The couple that did, I knew were not the issue. I decided to do a parasitic draw test. I started testing for that. It started out at 7 amps a draw, dropped down to 6, 5, 3, 1800 milliamps, so 1.8 amps, and then it went down to 200 and some milliamps, and then down to 128 milliamps. Not enough draw to be alarmed about. Okay. I started digging back in the codes again. I noticed a couple of codes said K-CAN communication fault. Because of the K-CAN communication fault that I was seeing, I thought, aha, there's got to be something there. I started doing a little research and searching, and I found this article actually on Google originally, and then I found it again. It's actually a thing specifically through BMW. But basically what it tells you is there's a bunch of areas where the wiring harness can rub through. This looks like it's probably underneath the dashboard, maybe a piece of the dashboard that rubbed through the wiring harness here and shorted out a wire. And it talks about multiple locations. So there's that one. There is, you can see, this is the center console here. Underneath, this is the seat. And then right here, there's a joint. And then, so underneath the carpet, there's a Y-off area. And I guess it shorts up here. It can get pinched. And then, of course, we got even more. This is underneath the front passenger seat. And it looks like the seat can pinch the wiring harness and cause damage. So they just have a wiring nightmare, right? We got, come on, just work. There we go. Use the arrow key. And then we have right rear section of luggage compartment. And it looks like it rubs against this piece of the body right there. So there's that. And so I'm looking through all this, and I decided to start digging. And as I'm digging away, well, first off, I'm looking at all these, and I'm in there digging too. And I think I found something I'm going to dig into a little bit more here after I explain all this. But near the front subwoofers, which I have not pulled up any carpet or anything yet, so I don't know about all this stuff. There's one underneath the passenger footwell here, and you can see where it looked like it rubbed through right here. They circled it. They give you all kinds of good information on here on where things rub through. And then I got down to this one, and this one flagged me. So this is the right rear section of the luggage compartment, and they talked about water intrusion and this harness here. I actually pulled that harness up, and what I found gave me a confident idea of what I need to go after. Of course, I need a flashlight. And I pulled the harness up already. You see, I got it kind of sitting up. I'm going to try and set the light in a way that I can point to. There we go. And if you look, see the white stuff down on the bottom? That's where the harness was actually laying at, is where that white area is. And then on the bottom side of this harness, oh, if we can, I already rubbed the harness quite a bit, but you can see where all that dirt is and where the tape. So right there specifically, see where the tape is kind of pushed over and it looks a little funky? That's because this guy has been rubbing down there, and it looks like there was some water sitting down there at one point. And if you look right here, I'm going to shove this up here, get it out of the way. This is a vent for the door and stuff to breathe. So when you slam your door shut, air pushes out of here, right? Well, that's right behind the rear tire. So my thought here is the rear tire is actually splashing up a little bit of water up into this thing. Would this thing just stay up here? Good grief. And it gets just a little bit of water in here, and one of these wires probably has a pinhole in it and has ruined one of the wires. So now I get to cut this harness, the tape off, and take a look at all these wires. That's the first thing I'm going to dig for. And then once I find it, I will bring you guys back to finish showing you what actually I found, if anything, here. And if I didn't find anything here, I will show you guys what I found in here once I rip the entire interior out, because that's probably my next step, unfortunately. So I will see you guys in just a moment. I think I might have found it, and I don't want to disturb it too much before I'm, I want to be on camera for this. So I started looking, and you see if I can get the thing to focus. This is my crappy phone camera. It's not exactly the best camera to be using. There we go. You can see right there. See the tape? How it's got that green hue? That little piece of tape right there? I believe there's a splice there, and I think it's corroded underneath. Sure enough, there's a splice. Oh, look at this. There's a bunch of white underneath there. Let's go ahead and get this peeled off on camera. There's a little white under there too, so maybe that's kind of normal for the tape. No, it's getting blacker again. Okay, we have two splices, and this is for the CAN communication line. Look at that. Son of a gun. I think I found it. So I'm going to redo this splice. I'm going to have to cut back the wire however far I need to get it to come clean. And I will try the vehicle again. I might have multiple areas that are bad, but that is the beginning of solving this issue. Hopefully that's the last thing. I will let you know in just a moment how it goes. For you guys, it'll be seconds. For me, it'll probably be an hour or two, because I'm probably going to have to dig more, but we'll see. All right, let's do the moment of truth here on video as well. I did go ahead. I had to shorten a bunch of wire. Here's all the pieces of wire that I actually removed. So this one's from the little connector I'll show you in a second, and these two are from the actual CAN bus lines. So the two CAN bus lines that come out of this end of the harness here, they come out, and I cut them way short, and they're still a little corroded. They got a little bit of like darkened copper, but there is some clean copper there too. So it's just a communication line. It just needs to get a connection right. So I went ahead and used them anyway, twisted them together with the wire for this little connector here. Now this connector was not actually connected into anything. I don't know where it's supposed to go. I don't believe it actually hooks up to anything at all. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn the key on and see what happens. But basically, I twisted the wires together, put heat shrink. This is adhesive heat shrink tubing. And then I'm just going to leave this hang, turn the key on, and see how many lights light up. I'm sure it'll still be a Christmas tree. I can try and clear the codes, see what happens, and go from there, I guess. But I have a feeling it's not going to be the answer. If it is, I'll be tickled pink. But I just really don't think it's going to happen. Okay, key on. Go ahead and get my scan tool in here. Well, it's bitching at me about everything. Doubt it fixed it, but I should clear codes just in case, right? Okay, let's see here. We're on the scanner now. This is an Autel scanner. We're just going to go ahead and do the auto scan. Of course, my phone camera piece of crap isn't focusing. There we go. So in the auto scan mode, it checks every module it can find, basically. And then what I'll do is I'll hit this little quick erase right here. Alright, so we went ahead and read all the codes. You can see, like I said, lit up like a Christmas tree. There's faults everywhere. And this is after I already tried clearing it. I did not clear it on this round, so I'm going to do that now. Well, oh yeah. See, it says erasing. For some reason, that one takes a while to erase. I don't know why. But once it starts going, it just goes right down the lane, and it's real nice and quick. So while it does that, let me know what you think of this video format. This is the kind of thing that I can do while I'm working and not have to do a bunch of extra editing. So I haven't been posting much content lately, mostly because of editing. I don't have time to edit. I do have some videos in queue. There we go, it's done. All right. Wow, we have a lot less. So that actually solved quite a bit. We are down to ABS dynamic stability control, airbag, advanced crash safety module, and EMF parking brake. So we are down to four faults total. That's impressive. Okay, I was having a load more faults than that. Okay, let's, I'm going to go ahead and apply the parking brake. Release the parking brake. Just in case, and I'm going to reset this, because that is in the back, so I would think that might have something to do with the parking brake. We'll hit erase codes. I'm not even going to look at them because I already saw what they are before, so now we're going to see if they're still there. Damn, they are still there. Okay, so unrelated to that, but that's much, much better. Now, I'm going to go through these, and I'm going to see if any of these are CAN communication at all. Maybe I solved the CAN problems, and now I have other problems to deal with. So the one thing we do have is under, I believe this is the airbag module because of what it says here. Advanced crash safety module, left active head restraint is the code, but it doesn't say short to ground or power. It doesn't say a communication error. It doesn't say anything like that. Let's see what menu that was under. That's under airbag advanced crash safety module. So that one, I don't know if I'm going to be able to fix that relatively easy or not. I'll have to dig into that. This dynamic stability control one, it is receive DC D. All right, I'm gonna wait for it to focus. There we go. No message VTG receiver DSC transmitter VTG. No message. So does that mean it's not communicating? What's that mean? I guess I'll have to look into that code too, because that's not really telling me a whole lot of anything. And then I forget what that parking brake was exactly, but it wasn't CAN communication. I know that. Parking brake dynamic stability control interface signal invalid. Signal invalid. Aha. So either we are reading a sensor incorrectly where it's not giving the correct signal, or we have lost communication, and I have another one to dig up. All right, I have some more digging to do. I'm going to dig into that and see where it takes me, because that was cool finding that so fast. That saves me a lot of headache. I did not want to pull all these seats and carpet out. Believe me, that's no fun. Been there, done that too many times. I've had the entire dashboard out of these frickin' vehicles just to get a blower motor. The blower motor is centrally located against the firewall way back there. It's really dumb. So, bear with me. I'll be right back. Holy crap. What a frickin' disaster did I get myself into. You can see I got a few parts laying down here. Let's start with the center console. So we have the center console out finally. I think I did all this for nothing. Other than to verify to myself everything's good, I guess. So I did find a couple of things that were suspect, but they're not enough to cause a problem. So you can see this center console had to get completely ripped down to absolutely nothing. Now, there's some panels on the side of this thing, and these panels come off really easy. And then there's some screws that you can access on the side of it. You take those screws out, the thing's completely loose, ready to pull out, except for one big problem. There's a wiring harness underneath it that does not have a master connector. Had BMW done a master connector down there, I could have left all that shifter component stuff in here, along with these little trim pieces, along with all this cluster F that's sitting up here. All that stuff could have stayed in there, and I could have just pulled it out as a big assembly. But because of the way they wired this thing, it's completely retarded, by the way, I had to take it all apart just to pull it out. Very, very dumb design. Anyway, so there's a blower motor underneath that thing as well. And there's cup holders in the very front. Now, underneath those cup holders in the front, there is a removable little cap thing to access some sort of transmission actuator. I think it's for putting it in neutral. I have not verified. I'm not sure. But regardless, because of that little cap that's in there, whenever somebody spills their drink inside that drink holder, water and stuff goes down in there and could cause problems for you. So I'm bringing it up specifically in case this is one of your issues and why you have maybe airbag lights on, because there's a airbag module underneath that thing. Now I have pulled one of the carpets out, so I have that out. But I want to point out this airbag module thing before I get into the meat and potatoes of what I actually found. Now you can see this one here. There's supposed to be a ground right here, but look at see the corrosion that's on there? And then we got all this rust down here, and there's that actuator thingy-majig that you can manually operate. There's some kind of special tool that goes in there to turn that. And then that cable, I believe, goes down to the transmission. At least that's what I think it's supposed to do. But why did I get to this point? Okay, let's go there first, as far as where I'm going with it. So this thing has communication issues with the transfer case control module. I did not know this until now, until I started, right before I tore this all apart. But the transfer case control module actually sits right here. I have it sitting on a shelf over there. It's out right at the moment because I was going after the data lines for it. Now, I was originally tracing both of these data lines because it looked like there was two sets of data lines going to it, and I might have had another set on another. I didn't look at the other connector. I bet that's what it was. Anyway, I thought I was tracing these two data lines, and this one goes underneath the vehicle, and this one stays in the vehicle, and you can see it right here. And then I was trying to follow it all the way up to the front, but as it turns out, that's actually right here, which connects to the battery terminal. So it's some kind of current sensor. I wish I would have known that before I traced it all the way back there. That's why I think I ripped this all apart for nothing. But I did find that corrosion thing that's a potential problem for maybe you if you're watching this video. But for me, the bigger issue is actually this fuse box right here. I am going to have to do some major cleaning up of this fuse box. It's an interesting design choice that BMW chose to engineer this fuse box with. What we have here, these connectors all go to the bottom of the fuse box. And the bottom of the fuse box, if you look in here, you can see the actual fuses. So the fuses go straight into the connector. Usually they have fuse boxes where the plug-in plugs into a circuit board, and then the circuit board does things to get to the fuse. This one, it's actually a little different because the plug-in, oh great, my light's dying. The plug-in actually goes to the directly to the fuse on half the fuse, and the other half of the fuse goes to a circuit board. So I have to pull this apart yet to clean it because it's corroded. So I had a red flag. The first red flag I had was when I took this relay out of here. There we go. See that green and corroded kind of garbage going on there? So that gave me a red flag, of course. You see it down in there, all nasty. Phone doesn't pick it up very good, but it is picking it up. It looks worse than that in person. So that was corroded, and then I thought, all right, I got to pull this box out because I saw that. And then I noticed when I unplugged this guy here, see the couple of pins there that are corroded? And then down here in this corner, the bottom right of that connector, see how those are corroded? I thought, oh crap. So I pulled this apart to check this, but luckily I looked this whole circuit board over, and it looks like there's no corrosion whatsoever. They have you can see this shiny protective coating on there. I think that saved the circuit board, so all I have to do is clean up the terminals on the end here, because on the other side of the terminals they're perfectly clean, good to go. So I'm just going to go ahead and probably clean that up, and I'll do it with this off here. That way I can make sure if any water, baking soda mix I get on here, I can just blow this dry or whatever, not a big deal. So I'm going to leave it so I can take it apart. It does have a couple screws holding it together. I also have to take and clean out those terminals, and then of course this box. Once I do all that, I'm going to plug it all back together, put this little screen dashboard thing back up there, and see if I can get this thing to turn on, because this thing was flickering when I first got the vehicle. By the time I was done trying to diagnose some of the other stuff, it was not even on at all. So I think that might have to do with this relay or something, or one of the fuse connections. There is talk in Identifix about fuses causing that thing not to work. So I wonder if it's not just a corrosion thing, and that's why it was kind of flickering. It had a really poor connection, kind of had voltage, kind of didn't, and then as I'm working on it, it led to not having voltage because I was moving this box around. So that's where I'm at currently. I'm going to keep going at this thing, getting that all cleaned up, button it up as best I can without putting all the seats back in, just in case I need to get under here, there is a lot of potential issues. So we got wires coming here, they go around there, they go around that side over there, they come up this way. This is that wiring mess I was telling you that's underneath that center console, and they should have a master connector right here, but they don't. So this guy is a disaster to deal with. There's so many pass-through wires that come through the carpet. We got one right here. There's the slot right here. There's a wire underneath here, just like this one, and that's all. You know, every seat has a connector, so it's a real freaking cluster F to deal with. I'm gonna go ahead and get what I can done, and then go from there. All right, we're gonna look at these fuse panel pictures here. You can see the corrosion that is involved in this fuse panel. That is where I decided to tackle this thing. It needed a replacement. That's it. That's all there was to it. I have replaced the unit. I'm pretty much assembled, and I also have this relay that I took apart because I was just curious. It was corroded on the bottom. I thought, did it actually get inside the relay or not? And I've never taken apart a BMW relay because they always seem to be tough to tear apart. I always end up wrecking it. This time I was bound and determined to tear it apart, and what I found was a bit interesting. The actual relay itself, once you get the cover off, is not like a typical relay. A typical relay will have a winding of wire that you can visibly see, and a little contactor that magnetically gets pulled by the winding of wire that you can all visibly see. This BMW relay, on the other hand, which is a mini relay, has a solder-in micro relay and a circuit board inside of the mini relay. It's really stupid. So a relay within a relay. Blows my mind why they would do that. It's clearly going to give the relay less current capability. Whatever, it's a BMW relay, and honestly, rarely have I ever had to replace one because it's gone bad. So maybe it's more reliable that way, or because they know it's less current, they design their circuits so they require less current. I don't know. But anyway, it's together. I have scanned it. I have lost codes. I have gained codes. I have changed things. My mind is melting. I've also removed a few things. There was a remote start system in this vehicle. I completely pulled it out. Maybe I'll show you the pile of parts over there. And then in the back of these seats here, there was also a bunch of wires and a AV input-output type device stuffed in the passenger seat over here. And it was for like the behind screen or behind headrest screens for kids or whatever. So it did have those as well. I pulled all that crap out because it's not in use anymore. And since I already had everything apart, might as well just pop the couple of panels off, finish taking that apart and out as well, right? Why put the wires back in place when they don't need to be there? So I removed those. Now I have scanned the vehicle, and we are back to the scanner, and we're going to take a look at what remains on this thing. Come on. There we go, focus. So we have a couple of engine codes, I guess. I did replace the transfer case control module as well, so keep that in mind. Digital motor electronics, no. Bit serial data interface, message from intelligent battery sensor. I disconnected that thing, but I reconnected it. So maybe, oh wait, bit serial data interface from alternator. Well, that's interesting. Maybe something I disconnected and reconnected isn't fully seated or connected very well, so I'll have to look at that. That might not be a big deal at all, because I did disconnect a couple things that I didn't have those codes before. Alright, so let's go transfer case. This is the one that I know of one of them, I believe. It's a resistor thing. Now, I did have to replace it with 1 year older box. Transfer box, calibration faulty, oil wear, classification resistor, all-wheel drive, limp home control activated, no DSC specific nominal torque, steering wheel angle sensor error, VTG transmitter. Okay, so I might have to do like a transfer case or transfer box calibration. That might be easy. I might be able to solve all this with that and then a new steering angle sensor relearn. So that might not be a big deal. Looks like I have more to dig into. And it's all different stuff now. So apparently that box solved a lot of problems, and the transfer case box brought in new problems, and that box made me aware of new problems, all the while not actually fixing the screen situation, because that does not turn on yet.
I did have it flicker for a short moment when I plugged the battery back in at one point. I did notice it was turning on, and that was when I actually had that box out of there, which doesn't even seem plausible, but it happened. So I have yet to explain that. I guess I'm going to have to figure out what my next step is and let you know what I did. I figured out the display issue on the BMW, and if you have one of these vehicles, you've probably already noticed during this video that this display does not look like the one in your vehicle. You should have one that looks like this, okay? I have that one that kind of sat up and popped out, but you can see it's in a bazillion pieces here, and yes, my toolbox is a mess. But I did this for a reason. I got all the screws kind of set in a certain arrangement in case I could put it back together, but I'm not going to be able to. So what do we have? We have the LED strip right here. See all the little LEDs that are in here? Now these LEDs, let's see if I can find a way to show you. Yeah, there we go. Okay, you see where those little dots are between the LEDs? That's a board section off. So there's several section offs in here. I'm going to try and set it down so I can kind of show you. We have a section here and a section here. So there's 1, 2, 3 sections of LEDs that are all driven separately through these two, well, not separately, I guess. They're all powered through the same 2 wires, but each bank of LEDs is powered by the 2 wires, not all in series with each other. And it's a board that requires 210 milliamps at 27 volts. So knowing that information, this is actually the LED that sits inside the LCD display. I took the LCD apart because I wanted to verify this. So I pulled it apart, and then I saw that 27 volts. I go, all right, now we know what it drives by. I need to come with 27 volts. That's an 18 volt DeWalt battery and a 12 volt battery right here. And when you look at this 18 volt DeWalt battery, come on, it's a lithium battery. So we have plus and minus, of course. And if you go between these 2 terminals, yes, you get the 18 volts. But if you go between one of the end terminals here and these are the individual cells, so they can be charged separately. I went from this one to the middle one, and I had, what was it, 16 volts, 14, whatever it was. I ran this in series with that little 12 volt battery, and I ended up with pretty much exactly 27 volts. It was like 26 and 9.2 or something. It was damn near 27 volts. I'm like, perfect, right? So I powered this guy up, and sure enough, I had a flicker, 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 flicker. They were, all 3 sections were just randomly flickering really rapidly, just like when the screen was in the vehicle and actually working, and it was just sitting there flickering. So either these LEDs, which are flickering, blew out the driver on the board, or the LEDs, because of me maneuvering things around, started to work again, but went back to the flickering stage because they're still no good, and it's just a bad LED. Either way, I could not find an LED strip to replace it, even with the part number that's on the back of the strip. So I'm replacing the whole head unit with a stock factory unit, because this aftermarket unit has clearly failed, and another aftermarket unit is like $400. So pass on that. We're going to replace this with a factory unit. This should be good to go. That should be ready to go. I have to solve the codes issue yet. I have not fully dug into them, but I will be back to finish that up. I think I finally got this BMW licked. It's taken care of for the most part. I mean, there's some minor little things I'm going to have to do here yet. I still have plenty of codes, but they're all really weird things that are just little things that aren't really necessary for you guys. I did replace the radio with a factory one, and as you can see, it works now, so that's all good. Much better on that side. The battery drain and the alternator thing. Remember, this was originally an alternator issue. And they mentioned whenever the battery's hooked up, the thing goes dead. It went dead without the battery hooked up. So I had the battery disconnected for 2 days while I was waiting for the parts. I hooked the battery back up. It was charged. I hooked the battery back up and it was dead. So I'm going to verify that again here. Right now it's on the charger, but the alternator is charging. So we'll go ahead and start this guy. You see now it's at 14.4. So alternator is working. Oh, engine light is now out. We have no lights left on the dash. Much, much, much gooder. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, and I'm going to reread this sucker and take a look. But regardless, we are pretty much at the end of this video. I am good to go on this thing. I just got to button up a few little things, and this car is ready to rock. Now, I did have to do a couple of things. I am using the transfer case control module that I received from the yard. That resistor thing was irrelevant. I was able to reset it. I reset the unit. I went through a couple different procedures, and then I had to do a oil change to the transfer case because this module in the other vehicle was due for a oil change. So all I did is I just did the computer oil change. You know, there's a service section in the actual scan tool. I went through the service section. I ran the service of oil change, and I know the oil is in really good shape because I did pull the plug out, just drain a little bit and put the plug back in and take a look at it, and it is in excellent shape. So I'm not worried about the oil in the transfer case. I may suggest changing it anyway, just because it also claims on the entertainment center thing that display, and I don't know if this is because that's the vehicle the display came from or because of this vehicle that is due for an oil change. Given the history on this thing, we don't have any history of oil change on this unit, so I'm probably going to do an oil change. The cabin filter that's inside here for the recirculation is dirty, and I should change it. The cabin filters on the outside I'm also going to suggest changing, and we're going to do some basic maintenance to this guy now that I have all the lights off. So now I need to talk to the customer, aka my neighbor, and say, hey buddy, I got it all fixed up. We need to, well, you know, the few things I still got to button up, but I'll get that first before I talk to him. I got all these things buttoned up. Now I feel comfortable doing further work on the car. Can we get an oil change done? I'll check the transmission fluid before I tell him. Maybe I'll tell him we need transmission fluid or not, whatever. Transfer case, differential fluid. Oh, brake fluid was one that's on this guy here. So I'll probably suggest doing it anyway regardless, and then I'll reset it using the scan tool. So everything on this car has to be reset with the service function on the scan tool in order to actually, right there is a service function. So you click that guy, and then you got your different module areas, chassis, suspension, powertrain, etc. I think I would click under that for the brakes. And then parking brake, traction control system, steering angle sensor. Oh, I had to reset that again with the new transfer case module. So that was a little interesting. And then ride height control, steering column adjustment. I don't need that. But basically, you have to go through all this crap. CAS. I don't even know what CAS is. What is that? Car access system. Okay. I don't need to worry about that. Transmission control. So there's the transfer case one. Was right there. Maintenance pre-check. Delivery, reset condition-based service, battery charging or trickle charging via diagnostic socket. That's weird. Condition-based service, vehicle data correction. I don't know. I'll go through all this stuff. I'll take care of it. Get it done. And this customer will be on his way with one hell of a bill now because I got way too much time wrapped up into this thing. But, like I said, he only paid $500 for this unit. So he's still way ahead, even if I give him a pretty hefty bill. So he's going to be tickled pink. So I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.